All right, let's dive into one of the most chilling tales ever written, Robert Louis Stevenson's masterpiece about the good and evil lurking inside all of us. We're going to unpack the mystery, the so-called science, and the absolute horror at the heart of this classic story. So, our story kicks off on the dark, foggy streets of London, and right away we get this shocking, totally senseless act of violence. Some small, repulsive-looking guy commits a horrible crime, but not in a fit of rage, no, with a chilling calmness. It's a sign that he's something else, something not quite human. And this one brutal moment sparks a terrifying question. It sucks a very respectable lawyer, a Mr. Utterson, into this dark, spiraling investigation that's going to challenge everything he thinks he knows about society, about human nature, and even about his closest friend. So where does this whole messed up investigation begin? Not on the streets, but in the quiet of a lawyer's office, where a simple legal document turns out to be the very first clue in a horrifying mystery. Let's meet our guide through this whole nightmare, Mr. Utterson. He's a man who likes things to make sense. He's all about logic, reputation, the sane and normal sides of life. But his very tidy world is about to get flipped completely upside down, all thanks to his old friend, the brilliant Dr. Jekyll. Now, get this. The will has this really bizarre and unsettling clause. It says that if Dr. Jekyll were to just disappear for more than 3 months, some guy named Edward Hyde gets everything. I mean, that's not just weird legal work. That sounds like someone's planning for a murder, right? So Utterson's concern is growing, and he goes to talk to a mutual friend, Dr. Lanyon, who's a very by-the-book scientist. And Lanyon basically says, yeah, Jekyll's kind of lost his mind. He's dabbling in these wild experiments that Lanyon calls unscientific balderdash. He's seen a change in Jekyll, a slide toward what he thinks is just pure madness. Okay, so Utterson is seriously worried about his friend now. He's so concerned, he decides he has to break his own rule of not meddling in other people's business. He is going to find this mysterious Mr. Hyde and see his face for himself. And when Utterson finally tracks Hyde down, whoa, he is completely repulsed. And what's so strange is that he can't even say why. There's no specific deformity, just this deep, gut-level feeling of wrongness, an aura of pure evil coming off the guy. Utterson feels such disgust, he actually says Hyde is hardly human. The whole mystery just simmers for a while. But then, almost a year later, it explodes. What started as a weird story and a strange will suddenly becomes a full-blown murder investigation, with Hyde as the prime suspect. And here's the kicker. The murder weapon? It's a piece of a walking cane. And Utterson recognizes it immediately. It's the one he gave to Dr. Jekyll as a gift years ago. And just like that, there's a direct, physical link between his respectable, kind friend and a monstrous killer. So Hyde is now wanted for murder, and he basically vanishes off the face of the earth. Dr. Jekyll comes back out into society for a little while, and it almost seems like things are back to normal. But you know that's not how this story goes. A much darker final chapter is about to begin. A few weeks later, Jekyll locks himself up in his laboratory and doesn't come out. His butler, Poole, is absolutely terrified. He shows up at Utterson's door, convinced that his master has been murdered, and some thing is hiding in there, screaming day and night for a specific chemical. Utterson hears a voice from inside that he doesn't recognize, and the whole situation just screams horror. He knows he can't wait any longer. They grab an axe, they break down the door, but what they find inside is not the murderer they expected at all. The room is dead quiet. There is no sign of Dr. Jekyll anywhere. Instead, on the floor is the body of Edward Hyde, who has died by suicide. The scene is just a bizarre puzzle. There are chemicals all over the place, a new will leaving everything to Utterson, and on the desk, a sealed confession that promises to finally explain everything. All right, this is it, the big reveal. The answer to this whole horrifying mystery is sitting in 2 letters left for Utterson to read, one from the recently deceased Dr. Lanyon, and the other, the final, full statement from Dr. Henry Jekyll himself. Dr. Lanyon's letter is just mind-blowing. It describes the night his entire worldview was shattered. He saw it with his own eyes. The creature, Hyde, drank a potion, and then physically, violently melted and reformed into Dr. Jekyll. That unscientific balderdash he'd mocked was real, and the pure shock of it literally kills him. And then finally, we get Jekyll's confession. His whole theory was this: man isn't one person, but two. There's a good side and an evil side, locked in this constant struggle. And he didn't want to be evil. He wanted to be free of it. And this is the key to the whole thing. His goal was to live a life totally free of shame. He figured if he could create a separate body for all his dark impulses, he could be purely good as Dr. Jekyll, while Mr. Hyde could go do all the bad stuff. But in trying to purify himself, he ended up unleashing a monster. The difference was night and day. Jekyll was the person everyone saw. You know, a mix of good and bad, like most of us. But Hyde was different. He was just the bad stuff. Every dark, repressed impulse Jekyll ever had all rolled into one person. He was pure, unfiltered evil. But see, there was a fatal flaw in his plan. The more he let Hyde out to play, the stronger Hyde got. It's like Hyde was hitting the gym every night. And soon, the transformation started happening without the potion. Jekyll would fall asleep as himself and wake up as Hyde. He had become a prisoner in his own body. And the final tragic twist? It was a chemical one. Turns out the original salt he used for the potion had a tiny, unknown impurity in it. That mistake was the secret ingredient. When he reordered a new, pure batch of the salt, it didn't work. He'd run out of the flawed chemical that allowed him to turn back into Jekyll. So, his grand experiment to separate good from evil, well, it just ended up destroying them both. As the last of that special salt ran out, Jekyll knew the next time he turned into Hyde, it would be for good. Trapped, he wrote his confession just before the monster he created took its own life. And that leaves us with one final, chilling thought. Stevenson's story isn't just about some monster. It's kind of like a mirror, isn't it? It forces you to ask, what parts of ourselves do we push down and hide to look respectable? And what would happen if that other self ever got out?